Today's topic is Social Security. And most of the conversations you hear about Social Security focus on charts and break-even points and how to squeeze the biggest monthly check out of the system. And yes, those numbers matter, but here's the truth. Social Security isn't just about math. It's really about life. This past year drives the point home for me. In less than 12 months, I lost my dad, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. On top of that, I went through a knee replacement and then a hernia surgery caused by the rehab. Thankfully, I've recovered, and compared to what many people go through, my challenges were small, but the experience shook me to the core. It reminded me how fragile life is, how quickly health can change, and how the future never unfolds exactly as we plan it to on paper. That's why today I want to flip the conversation. Instead of obsessing over break-even charts, let's talk about real life, because for many people, claiming Social Security early at 62 isn't just about income, it's about health, freedom, peace of mind, and using your best years while you still have them. Let's dive in with 7 strong reasons. But first, a quick introduction. I'm Daryl Rosen, host of the Retirement Guide channel and founder of Securement Wealth. For years, I've helped so many people plan for retirement, hopefully to be secure and meaningful. And as I approach 60 myself, I find I'm asking the same questions my clients ask. And the big one is, when should I take Social Security? Here's reason number 1. Health concerns. If you've got health issues or a family history of shorter life expectancy, taking Social Security at 62 may mean actually getting to use your money. The statistics are clear and they're sobering. According to the Social Security Administration, the average 65-year-old man today can expect to live till about 83 and the average woman till about 86. And that sounds like plenty of time, but here's the problem. Those are averages, and averages are just averages. While some people may live into their 90s, some people will only live to be mid-70s. I've seen this play out with clients again and again. Someone spends their whole life saving, investing, and planning for that perfect retirement that starts at 65 or later. Then an unexpected health event cuts those plans short. Suddenly, that dream trip, those years of adventures, or even just the energy to enjoy time with your grandchildren gets taken off the table. And it's heartbreaking because they had the money, but not the time. As I age, gracefully, of course, I think about this stuff more and more. The last few years have been a wake-up call. Health can turn on a dime, and it reminds me that the real question isn't just how long we're going to live, it's how long we'll stay healthy enough to enjoy life. Health doesn't care about the calendar. It doesn't wait politely until you hit retirement age. It shows up when it shows up. That's why for so many people, waiting until 67 or later to begin collecting is such a gamble. You could be stepping into retirement just as your health starts to decline, and that means fewer of those go-go years, those active, adventurous years where you travel or hike or chase your family around without needing a nap directly afterwards. The CDC reports that 1 in 4 adults over 65 experience a fall each year, often leading to long-term health complications. That's how fragile this really is. So yes, claiming at 62 does mean a smaller monthly check, but the trade-off might be that you're actually able to use that money while you're healthy enough to enjoy it. And that, in my book, is worth serious consideration. Reason 2 is what we would call the income gap. Here's a scenario I see all the time. Someone is ready to walk away from work at 62, but the rest of their income puzzle isn't quite formed yet. Maybe their pension doesn't start until 65. Maybe they'd rather wait on tapping their IRA to avoid sequence or returns risk. Or maybe, plain and simple, they just need a little breathing room while adjusting to a new retirement rhythm. This is where Social Security can act like a bridge. By claiming at 62, you create a steady, guaranteed stream of income that helps cover the basics without draining your savings too quickly. One of my clients did exactly this. She used Social Security as her floor, which let her investments sit untouched through a choppy market. When things recovered, she was glad she hadn't been forced to sell during the downturn. That decision alone gave her more peace of mind and a stronger nest egg. Here's a securement tip for you. Sit down and run a simple gap analysis. If you left work at 62, list your guaranteed income sources and your expenses. See where the shortfall is. Then ask, would turning on Social Security now or at 62 fill that gap and allow your savings to keep working for you a bit longer? Reason number 3 is better use of the go-go years. You know, retirement has phases: the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. Usually in your 60s, the go-go years is when you've got the most energy and the most dreams or travel adventure, big projects you've been putting off, but those years don't last forever. Often, by the time we hit our 70s and 80s, energy often shifts towards healthcare and maintenance of healthcare. Taking Social Security at 62 can help you fund those active years, the years where you're saying yes to life instead of slowing down. I had a client who retired at 62 and spent the next 5 years knocking out all the bucket list trips: Italy, Alaska, the Grand Canyon. Another client waited until 67. By then, his knees made long flights and hiking nearly impossible. Same dream, very different outcomes. I encourage all of my clients to write down 3 bucket list experiences that they'd love to do in their early 60s, then ask, would have Social Security income earlier make these events, these life goals more possible? Reason number 4 is the break-even math isn't guaranteed. You know, when it comes to claiming age, if you wait, you'll get more. And technically that's true, but only if you live long enough to pass that break-even point, often in your late 70s or your early 80s. Here's the problem. None of us know if we'll make it to that point. Waiting for later assumes later is guaranteed. It's not. Let's go back to my family for a second. My dad took Social Security at 70 and lived until 88. My mother-in-law and father-in-law both waited until 70 but passed away at 81. They could have done every break-even calculation known to man, but none of them could have known their personal timeline. My dad outlived life expectancy. My in-laws didn't. That's the flaw in the math. It assumes life will cooperate. Sometimes it doesn't. So here's a securement tip for you. Do the break-even calculation, but then ask yourself the real questions. Am I comfortable betting my best years on a formula I may never get to see play out? Reason number 5 is protecting your other assets. This one's about strategy. By starting Social Security at 62, you may be able to delay tapping into your other retirement accounts, and that gives those assets more time to grow. And just as importantly, it keeps you from pulling money out at the exact wrong time. Here's why this matters. Picture this. You decide to retire at 62, but you wait on Social Security, which means your income has to come from somewhere, right? Likely your investments. Now imagine the market takes a 20% decline right as you start withdrawing. Every dollar you pull out locks in a loss. Even when the market recovers, your portfolio may not bounce back in the same way because you've already spent the money you sold off. This is known as sequencer returns risk, or more appropriately, bad luck risk. Now let's flip the script a little bit. I had a client who started taking Social Security at 62, and for her, those monthly checks covered the basics, like her housing or groceries, utilities, that kind of thing. That meant when the market turned rocky, she didn't panic. She didn't have to sell her stocks while they were down. Instead, she left her investments alone to recover, and when the market did rebound, her portfolio was stronger for it. And here's some information to back that up. Morningstar found that retirees who avoid investment losses in the first 5 years of retirement are much less likely to outlive their savings. By having Social Security income flowing earlier, you essentially build a buffer that shields your portfolio during those fragile early years. So here's a securement tip. Take a look at your portfolio and your withdrawal plan. Run the numbers of Social Security started flowing at 62. Would allow you to pull less or nothing from your investments during downturns. That flexibility can be worth far more than the difference between waiting and claiming early. Reason number has to do with tax planning and the flexibility that you want. Here's something a lot of people miss. Social Security isn't just about income, but it's also about taxes. The way you time your benefits can either give you breathing room or box you in. When you delay Social Security, you often have to pull more heavily from tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks to cover your expenses. That could bump you into a higher tax bracket sooner. But by starting Social Security at 62, you may be able to keep withdrawals smaller and spread them out, which can lower your lifetime tax bill. Here's where it gets powerful. Early Social Security income can also create a tax window in your 60s. You may be able to do partial Roth conversions at lower rates. You could reposition assets or strategically reduce your required minimum distributions later in life. A little early planning here can save you tens of thousands in taxes over your retirement. You may be able to do partial Roth conversions at lower rates. So run a tax projection, not just a retirement projection. Ask, if I take Social Security at 62, what does that let me do with my IRAs and my Roth accounts? Sometimes the smartest reason to claim early isn't the check itself. It's the flexibility it unlocks in your tax strategy. And reason number 7 is simply peace of mind. Look, taking Social Security at 62 isn't just about the dollars. It's about peace of mind. It's about the freedom to live life on your own terms. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have told me it's not the size of the check. It's knowing that it's coming. And that steady income stream gives you confidence. It quiets the what ifs, and it lets you stop second guessing every spending decision. Even if it's a smaller amount, the certainty is priceless. And beyond that, it's about control. Maybe you feel this way. I've had people tell me I didn't take Social Security early because of the math. I took it because I was done waiting for permission to live. That sticks with me a lot because that the actual real point, not just surviving retirement, but actually living it while you're still with your health, your energy, and your curiosity intact. Other people, plain and simple, just want their money. They've waited long enough or think Social Security is going away. It's not. So they want their dough. That's fair. For me and my surgically repaired knee, my knee replacement, I know that those are handed out like candy on Halloween. It's not that big a deal, but for me, mine was a reminder of just how unpredictable life can be. I used to be a somewhat competitive age group runner, the kind who could snag a medal if no really fast runners showed up. I loved doing races, and whenever I traveled to a new state or community, I would enter a 5K, but not anymore. It's not the end of the world, I realize, but it's a change, and it drove home just how quickly the things we take for granted can shift. Here's a securement tip. Make a list of 3 things you do immediately if you stopped waiting, whatever it is, picking up a new hobby, traveling. Then ask yourself, waiting for a bigger check later, would that really help you? So let's recap the 7 reasons to take Social Security at 62. Health concerns, use it while you still can. It can be a bridge to help you create streams of income while you're waiting for your other investments. It funds your go-go years, those years where you're active and travel and that kind of thing. Break-even math is not guaranteed. It protects other assets from drawing those down, perhaps in times when it's not advantageous. It helps your tax planning, and it can give you peace of mind. Here's my final takeaway. Social Security isn't just about maximizing a number. It's about maximizing your life. And that's exactly what I help people do with the Securement Review. It's a flat fee, no sales pitch planning session where we map out your savings, income streams, taxes, and lifestyle goals. There's no products. There's no pressure, just clarity and confidence. You can learn more at theretirementguy.com. And let me leave you with this. Are you waiting because the math says you must, or because fear and habit are holding you back? If this video hit home, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and tell me in the comments, are you leaning towards waiting, or do you think taking a 62 makes more sense for you? Because here's the truth. Social Security isn't just about when you turn 62. It's about when you decide to stop waiting and start living. Thanks for watching.